Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey. I'm FPL D Unit, and today I'm here with a wild card special. Yeah, you heard that correctly. My wild card is 100% active. I have been active and trying to be making money. I haven't made actually any money at all so far, so there goes that strategy. But I was always going to play it regardless in game week 12. I have got it live, so if you are on wild card, you've come to the right spot because I'm actually doing this for real. I'm not doing it because I'm a content creator and I'm actually not on wildcard. This week I actually am on wildcard. So please like the video. And if you're new and you're finding this useful and you want some excellent, great fantasy content with a completely different perspective than what you're normally used to hearing, then please press that subscribe button right there. All right, now, without further ado, we are going to get into, and I've created 5 different drafts, and I actually, honestly, do not know which one is the best. I've originally gone in the order of the likelihood of which I'm going to do this. I'm going to show you the one that at the start of the week, I was like, yeah, that's the one I'm going to go with. Followed by the 5th one, which I'm now more leaning towards than anything else. And we'll get to that in a reason. They are very good drafts in their own right. Some of them are heavily defense-based. Some of them are heavily midfield-based. Some of them are heavily forward-based. But I've got them all here. Let me know in the comments. Please tell me which one you like the most because I actually can't make up my mind. So I really need you guys to kind of help me out for Game Week 12. And I am going to be doing this live on Deadline Stream. When I lock in this, my final team will be on there on Saturday. Me and Alan will be debating it up until the 11 o'clock kickoff. 11 o'clock deadline. So please join us for that as well. So without further ado, let's jump into what is going to be the not the first draft, because this is my team as of the end of game week 11. I had a team value of 103.9 million and I'm 169,544. And if it wasn't for Dominic Solanke, I'd be doing my wild card from inside the top 100,000 teams. That's how damn tight it is in the top part of the competition. So look, that's it. This is my team currently as it stands. So I've just got these players in here there as placeholders. There's no way Kelleher, Dallo, because I don't know what's going on with the Man United defence. I don't even know if he's going to be playing under Ruben Amorim. Semenyo, I'm not 100% certain if he's going to be there. And obviously Isaac as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be there as well. And we'll get into the draft. But look, I've made a bunch of changes there from the original team. Fabianski is a definite nailed on. He's the one bloke that's nailed on in every one of these drafts. And the other one will be João Pedro. So just keep that in mind. All right, so without further ado, that is the team currently. Now, into the first draft of the wild card. So, look, this one here is heavily reliant, and obviously I haven't made these ones. I haven't made these transfers yet. This draft number 1 is the defender draft. It is based on purely double Arsenal, double Liverpool defense, getting you 24 points without bonus points every week. More often than not. That is the theory. People have been trying the double Arsenal defense since game week 6 when they wildcarded, and it hasn't yet produced one clean sheet. So, but I think it does. The run of fixtures coming up for Arsenal suggests that, they are going to be keeping clean sheets. Their underlying defensive data is actually really good as well, and there's no reason why the double Arsenal defense won't start working. They have got some easy fixtures coming up. Other than the Man United game, I think they can keep a clean sheet in almost all the rest. Up until Spurs, probably, and Villa. So, look, I just think the double Arsenal defense, there's a reason why I like this draft. 24 points from your defense, and then you're relying on your captain and your midfield to get you, on average, at minimum 60 points a week. You'd think you'd get 40 points more often than not from this midfield and forward line. So, look, let's have a look. So, we've got Virgil van Dijk and Konate from Liverpool. We've got Gabriel and Raya from Arsenal. Those are the 4 players you're going to be starting every week. If they've got a harder fixture, which happens occasionally, you've then got Hall from Newcastle and Aït-Nouri from Wolves, who should rotate quite nicely in that. And even got Fabianski, who's playing. Heaven forbid, Arsenal have got a horrible game and you need to play your other goalkeeper. In the midfield, Bruno Fernandes makes it. He looks good here. I like him. Short-term pick, but also I just think the new manager bounce under Ruben Amorim will be fantastic for him as well, and I can't see him not dominating. Mo Salah's obviously in there, the Egyptian king. Cole Palmer, the run of fixtures for Chelsea from here on in, it just looks amazing for the time being. Brian Mbeumo is still in there, but he could easily be swapped out for an Anthony Gordon or a Jared Bowen. I'll mention that quite a few times during this wildcard draft video on these 5 drafts. I don't like his fixtures after game week 14, so he's definitely in the chopping block. And there are like a lot of good midfielders you could just do a sideways trade to. Or you can find, since I've got 0.4 in the bank, another 0.3 million and get yourself up to a Martin Odegaard for a Brian and Burmo. Semenyo's the enabler here, and this allows you to have Isaac in attack with João Pedro and Cunha. As you'll notice, Chris Woody, the Woodpecker, is gone for me. I don't know why people are buying him. I wouldn't be buying any Nottingham Forest assets moving forward for the next 7 weeks. That's just my opinion. I've been hot on Chris Wood for the first 11 game weeks. Not anymore. He doesn't make it to Ipswich in game week 13. It might come back to bite me in the ass, but I'm happy to wear it because I just don't like the other fixtures, and I don't think he's going to score against Arsenal this week. João Pedro obviously is the enabler there, and the reason why I like this draft is because if you do want to bring in the big man from Norway, Erling Haaland, you can easily swap out Isaac and a midfielder in order to get him in, or it's easier to get up to Haaland having an Isaac in your team than not having an Isaac, if that makes sense. So, look, that is draft number 1. This is a well-rounded draft. It's strong on every single line. It's definitely lining up in a 3-4-3. You could technically play a 4th defender as well on game weeks where, you might have weaker fixtures for your attacking players, because obviously Hall and Aït-Nouri are not bad defenders. They are going to get you points. So, the only disappointing thing is you are leaving a fair bit of money on the bench each week in this draft. That's just the way it is. I don't know if that's something you want to do, but we'll get into the Haaland draft right at the end. So that's draft number 1, which, as I said at the start of the week, I really like, well, at the start of the international break, that is the one I created and I thought that is the draft for me. I thought that was amazing. This is the one that featured on the video last week. If anyone is wondering, that is the early wildcard draft. I still really like it. It looks fantastic, and it will deliver points. Number 2, this is the 5 premium midfielder draft. So Semenyo here is a sucker. That is the main difference in this draft. So Semenyo is no longer there. Sucker is here. And instead of Isaac, I've picked out my differential of Valentin. Again, there is a little bit of concern here because of the fact that Valentin and João Pedro are not playing 90 minutes. Well, João Pedro is just back from injury. And Valentin seems to average about 70-odd minutes per game and then goes off. But his XG per 90 minutes is really good. And, he has, since game week 4 or 5, he's been dominant and getting lots of returns. So I really like him as a pick, and he's a really nice differential that not many people have. Again, there's 0.1 left in the budget here. This also allows you to have a Virgil van Dijk and a Gabriel in defense. So instead of doubling up, you're just having one of each and you're covering both of their defenses, which I quite like. And then you've got Robert Sanchez in goal, rotating with Fabianski when Chelsea have a dud fixture. Now, I am aware that Jorgensen could potentially end up taking Sanchez's place. I'm not 100% certain if that's going to happen. It is something that has been talked about. He has been playing in the cup competitions, but he has also not been looking the best. But neither is Sanchez, so I don't think he's nailed, but he is starting at the moment. So, and I think Chelsea's defense is going to start keeping some clean sheets. I mean, they have a fantastic run of fixtures from here on in. Other than game week 15 when they play Spurs away, and in game week 13 when Villa come to Stamford Bridge, the rest of the fixtures, you should be backing them in for clean sheets. Like Leicester and Southampton, you should be backing them in for clean sheets. And then after that, Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves, there should be lots of clean sheets in there. I really like Sanchez as a pick there. I mean, if you didn't want to fork out and you wanted to save 0.2 million, you could just turn him into Bart Verbruggen from Brighton, who also has an amazing run, and we'll get into him. He's not in this draft, but Robert Sanchez is in this one. I really like it. Again, the defense is quite strong. You've obviously got the 5 premium midfielders. You're just sort of skimping out in the forward line. So, you are going to be having to rotate between João Pedro and Valentin on the bench. And eventually Cunha's fixtures do turn for Wolves. And you're probably then going to want to sell him or one of the other ones in order to target a budget forward that has a better run of fixtures. That's my only caveat on this one. Now, moving on to number 3. This one, again, is interesting. I've gone full budget defense here. Other than Onana. Onana's in goal in this one. I've got different goalkeepers in all these drafts other than the 5th one, which is the same as the 4th one. So just FYI for moving forward there. So again, Onana comes in goal here. I think Manchester United's defensive stats this season, there is a reason why he is the best goalkeeper in the game at the moment, and that's because Man United's defense, with their additions this summer, have been much better. And Lenny Yoro is now fit, and if they're going to play a 3 at the back, which potentially will come 5 against the strong teams, I really like the fact that they're 100% likely to be keeping more clean sheets, and the defensive data there for United has been pretty good. Like, even under Ten Hag, they were defending better. It's just they couldn't bloody score goals. But I really like Onana. I think he's a nice differential as well in terms of goalkeeper. He does cost a little bit more. So, you could save 0.6 and spend that on, I'm not sure, maybe turning a Veltman or someone like that into a 5 million defender. I'm not sure. But look, I quite like it. Something a little bit different, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Again, all these 5 defenders, you are never going to play probably 4 of them. You're just going to be picking the best 3 per game week. And they've all got relatively decent fixtures. I mean, we'll have a quick look. The Wolves fixture run is still really good up until game week 18 when they obviously play Manchester United. And then it gets stupidly hard again. A bit like the start of the season, but then it changes again from game week 27. You probably want to sell your Wolves assets around that period of time. And Aït-Nouri might actually be able to get you some money if he continues to go on price and continues scoring goals. Lewis Hall, obviously the Newcastle run looks really good and they are going to keep clean sheets. I would expect 2 clean sheets the next 2 weeks. I wouldn't be concerned playing Lewis Hall in any of the next 2 fixtures, and he has been looking good from an attacking perspective as well. Veltman, again, I'm going to talk on the Brighton run right now. I know Brunger's not there, but look at that. I mean, this run is amazing up until pretty much game week 37. You don't want them the last 2 games of the season. They're probably not going to keep clean sheets there. But other than that, other than game weeks 19, 20, 25, and 29, Brighton's run's pretty damn good, and I'm surprised he's only owned by 3.3%. He's a great differential as well, so I quite like that. Kirkes for Bournemouth as well. Their run of fixtures, again, is really delicious up until like game week 21. It gets a little bit harder then, and then it sort of opens up again from like game week 25 onwards up until game week 34. So I don't mind him as well. He's, again, low owned, so keep that in mind. And then Robinson, he's got a good couple of fixtures in the next 2 of the next 3, but then you probably don't want to play him until game week 19 again. And you want to probably ditch him by about game week 28. So that's the caveat there on Robinson. So look, in the midfield, this one, you don't have Saka, but you have Martin Odegaard instead. So you are saving a little bit of money there, but you still do have 5 premium midfielders in my eyes. Martin Odegaard, I think, if he gets to back to that form that we're used to seeing under Arsenal for when he is playing for Arsenal, he's the conductor of the orchestra. I mean, 2 seasons ago, everyone had Marcus Rashford, Martin Odegaard, and Saka, and they all popped off, and they all were delivering bulk points. And look, he obviously wasn't quite as prolific as that season last year. It was definitely Saka that was the pick of the midfielders, but there's no reason why he can't get back to that. And he's going to save you 1.9 million, which is, you can invest that into the rest of your squad as I've done here. So where I was worried about the fact that in the previous lineup where you had 5 premium midfielders and you had 3 budget forwards, in this one, you have 2 premium forwards, I would call. So Nicholas Jackson and Isaac, both producing fantastic XG numbers, obviously in good form as well. The only caveat on Jackson is obviously he's on 4 yellow cards, but I really like him. That Chelsea fixture run, they've got all the easy teams coming up. He's going to be scoring goals. And he's going to miss one game. You just hope it's not against one of the crap teams and it's against a half-decent team and he gets a nice rest. But look, I really like them, and then obviously Cunha's there as well. Again, you'll be leaving someone good on the bench every week in the forward 8 players. I don't know if that's something you want to run with, but again, that is something that can be done. And I don't mind it. Again, you are aware of Brian Mbeumo and the fact that his run of fixtures does change. I mean, if Diogo Jota actually became fit, he looks like a really good option there. But you can't really count on him. He always gets an injury, but he does have that he does have that nice block of fixtures every season where he just pops off. So it's inevitable that it eventually will happen at some point moving forward. So that is draft number 3. Now draft number 4. Again, this is the one without Brian Mbeumo. So again, we're only going with 1 premium forward here. We've got Verbruggen in goal. So my 4th different goalkeeper for the 4th different draft. Again, I've just shown you the Brighton numbers in terms of the teams they've got coming up. I really like him. I think he's a great option, and he's a great budget enabler because if you're only spending 8.5 mil on your goalkeepers, that just means you can spend that extra money elsewhere in your squad. So in this one, we've got Virgil van Dijk back in the team and Gabriel from Arsenal. So again, you're covering the 2 best defenses, that I think are going to be the 2 best defenses moving forward. You've got a player from both of them, so you're covering them. And then you're rotating between Robinson, Hall and Aït-Nouri, depending on the fixtures. And as we showed before, they dovetail quite nicely if you're only having to play one of them. Then obviously in midfield, I do like the Newcastle run, and I can't believe I'm tripling up on them because at the start of the season I thought they were pretty average, but they have been looking good of late, and I think Eddie Howe's starting to get them to click again. And if Anthony Gordon's fit, he's a great option. And this is without a Brian and Buemo either. So Martin Odegaard is Brian and Buemo in this draft. So again, you've got what I would classify 5 premium midfielders there. And then up top, you've got Isaac, João Pedro and Cunha. So again, you'd just be rotating João Pedro over Cunha because you'd be starting Isaac pretty much every week. And again, that also allows you the movement or the ability to then go from an Isaac to a Haaland and say a midfielder down to an enabler in order to get the big man from Norway back in. So look, that is draft number 4. Again, I quite like it. It's got its merits. The defense definitely looks a little bit better here. You've compromised a little bit in the midfield, but you've still also got that one premium type forward up front, which I quite like as well. Now on to the last and final draft, and this all comes down to what you think about the big Norwegian Erling Haaland. Now at the start of the season, the reason why I'm sitting top 169,000 is because for the first, I had Haaland and Salah up until, I think, from memory, I'm just going to quickly check Salah's numbers here. I had Salah up until game week 6, I think. And then I sold him for Cole Palmer because Cole Palmer had that amazing score in game week 6. So, yeah, look, I didn't have him for that. And then I sold him. So I actually dodged the Crystal Palace blank, which was nice. But then since then, I've really regretted not having Mo Salah in my team. Because obviously I had Cole Palmer and Mo Salah since that game week 7 has outscored Cole Palmer quite comfortably. If I'd left it the same way, I would be sitting quite pretty right now. Erling Haaland. Now, he's in this draft, and look, we're so used to seeing Erling Haaland outperform his XG numbers. Yeah, you know, that is throughout his entire career at Borussia Dortmund, at Red Bull Salzburg, and wherever the hell else he was before then, and at Manchester City. He is generally outperformed his XG quite comfortably. And he was. The start of the season, the first 5 weeks of the season, he was way over it. He scored 10 goals in his first 5 games. He was going at 2 goals a game. Like, his XG numbers, you know, they were high in some of those games, but he was outperforming them in every single one of those games. In his last 6, so if we go from the Brighton down to the Newcastle game, other than the Wolves game where he had 0.02 XG for assist and goals combined, he's massively underperformed. So in this time, he scored 2 goals. Against Newcastle, he got 0.45. Fulham, 0.25. Wolves obviously got 0. 2.33 against Southampton. That should have been a hat-trick, at least, under his normal conversion. Bournemouth, 0.88. And Brighton, 1.38. Like, those numbers. And look, he scored 2 goals in his last 3 games. And we're saying that he's out of form. Is he actually out of form? He's just scored a hat-trick against Kazakhstan for Norway. Like, you tell me if he's out of form. I don't think the man's out of form. He's been getting all the chances. He's had the most chances in the Premier League this season. He's had more than Salah and Palmer combined. Like, this dude, all it's going to take, he's got Tottenham at home this week, and Tottenham are garbage. You don't even have to get me onto how bad they are. There's a reason why none of their assets form in there. Now, he does get a little bit difficult. I don't like the Liverpool away game. I just can't see him really scoring there. But if Man City are to score, you wouldn't back against him. And then the rest of the games from then on, up until like game week 23, I think he looks good as an asset. It just comes down to what you want to do. Do you want to have money on your bench? Do you want to be able to rely on your bench during the Christmas period? Because obviously we're talking about the busy time of the year. So from here through to like game week 20, we are an exceptionally busy time period. We're averaging a game week every 4.5 days from here on in. And you probably will need to rely on your bench because players are going to get dropped. They're going to get rotated. They're going to be rested because the games are coming so thick and fast. Do you just commit so much more of your budget to get Haaland in? So in this draft, you've still got Bruno Fernandes, Mo Salah, Cole Palmer, Brian Mbeumo. Again, I talked about Brian Mbeumo moving to a different player in a couple of weeks' time. But you've also got Erling Haaland. And then you're obviously rotating 2 of the 3 out of Cunha, João Pedro, and Ahmad every week, which I don't think's too bad. And everyone goes, well, Ahmad. I was like, why have you picked him as an enabler? Well, because of the fact that it was one of the few players that I could afford with this particular lineup, but also because of the fact that he is going to, I think, pop off under Ruben Amorim. I think that he is going to become the best budget enabler in the game. Yes, that is my Man United bias coming through a little bit, but there is no reason to believe any otherwise that Ahmad will not start popping off. I think he's tailor-made for the inside number 10 position in the 3-4-3 formation. He can even play right wing back, and I think he'd create chances and goals from there. But I really think he's nailed on for one of those 2 inside 10 positions in the Amarin system. And if he is definitely going to become the best budget enabler in the game. And I think that he is 100% in this draft if I go with a Haaland draft. Now, obviously, your defense, you would be playing 3 out of these 4 every game week because there's no way O'Shea's getting near the starting lineup. He's going to be on the furthest bit of the bench away from my team as much as humanly possible. So, look, that's the only thing I don't like about this is that your bench is significantly weaker. Obviously, I've got him for Bruggen because he was the cheapest goalkeeper I could get with Fabianski. And then you're just rotating between Veltman, Robinson, Hall, and Ait-Nouri. The defense is a lot weaker, but defenders haven't, generally speaking, been keeping clean sheets this season anyway. So is it really that much of a problem? I'm not 100% sure. So look, those are the 5 different drafts. I have no damn idea which one I want to go with. Please let me know in the comments which one, if you are on Wildcard, which one would you prefer? Which one has given you inspiration for your own team? Again, I'm lucky that I've had so much team value in order to create these 5 different drafts. They've all got their pluses. They've all got their minuses. They all look good in the short term and the long term. I'm just not sure which one I like the most. And that is the problem. So hopefully I haven't confused you either. And again, if you've liked this video, please press the like button. And if you are new, please press the subscribe button. If you're following on audio, hopefully that made a lot of sense. Yeah, I've covered, like, there are some players non-negotiable that are going to be in the team regardless. Bruno Fernandes, Mo Salah, Cole Palmer, I am wedded to in every one of these drafts, along with Cunha, Ait-Nouri, and probably Hall at this point. And then obviously Fabianski. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 players completely nailed on in this in my draft. The other 8 though are all up for debate. There's all different permutations. So look, again, if I've actually missed someone out that you think I should be considering as well, I would love to hear it in the comments because obviously, you know, I have done a lot of research. I'm actually going to be keeping track of how many points each of these drafts makes over the next 6 or 8 weeks just to see whether I made the right choice or made the right call and whether I got it wrong. But look, let me know what you think. Which one do you like the most? Obviously, the premium defenders, the 5 premium midfielders, the 2 premium forwards, the Wormo-less draft, or lastly, the Erling Haaland draft. All right, I'll catch you later in the week where I do a complete video dedicated to Erling Haaland and what you should or shouldn't do with that man, the Norwegian king, moving forward. Thanks for joining me. That's been FPL D Unit.